Hey teams! Today we're going to walk through how to complete an individual learning plan to add to a student's iPage of their IEP. The individual learning plan is our proactive response to moving through the different models of learning that we may experience during the COVID-19 pandemic. For starters, let's go over some basic principles and beliefs about individual learning plans that may help guide your thinking while you're creating them. First, we are individually and creatively thinking through a plan for each student in the different delivery instruction models. We are thinking in different ways about teaching and learning, and it's important that we share our thinking with parents and caregivers. Next, the individual learning plan is an amendment. You do not have to change the entire IEP. All of the changes due to the COVID 19 pandemic are on the individual learning plan and housed on the iPage. Also, this is a process and we are all learning. We need to support each other through this. And last, it's okay to ask questions. Feel free to reach out to your SPED leadership team members, your AEA team, or the interventionists. We will use this individual learning plan checklist as a tool to document communication and meetings with teams for each student on your roster until the amendment is complete. Please make a copy of this and share it with the academic and behavior interventionist for your team, either Amy or Sarah, and your AEA primary contact. In the column furthest to the right, you will list each student on your roster and then add the date to the middle column when you have completed each action step for each student. You'll also want to become familiar with the Return to Learn instructional models and family choice learning options that we will be using for the 2021 school year. Parents may have questions about these when you contact them. Here's a quick reference page and an overview of the instructional models, or you can visit the Return to Learn page on the district website. Parents and caregivers want to know what the return to school will look like for their child. The first action step is to reach out to parents and caregivers and have a conversation. This conversation may include checking in with them, listening, sharing about the return to learn instructional models, and most important, letting them know that you're thinking about their child and wanting to create a plan that works best for them. Let them know that we will work together to create a draft of the individual learning plan for their student. Also, ask permission to meet with the key players of the IEP team to begin to draft this plan. Listen to any of their concerns and take note of anything they would like you to consider when creating the plan or any questions that they may have. Your second action step after talking with the parents and receiving the okay to move forward with the meeting with key players is to set up the meeting to discuss the individual learning plan with some of those key players. This may be other SPED team members, interventionists, AEA team members. Talking through the plan with these other team members will help the team to be creative and use out of the box thinking when trying to meet student needs in these different models. After meeting with your dream team and drafting a plan, you'll share this plan with the parents and caregivers and let them know that you're asking for permission to run this plan for 2 weeks. Ask for their feedback. Remember, this plan is new and we will be looking for data that will support that this plan is meeting the students' needs. Let parents know that you will trial the plan for 2 weeks and note any changes that might be helpful and that you are really open to their feedback during this time. Your last step is to share any changes that you would like to make to the individual learning plan with the IEP team members. The individual learning plan will be housed on the iPage of the IEP and will be documented as an amendment. This will be an amendment just like any other amendment that you would add to an IEP. You will copy and paste your work from your Google Doc into the attached form on the student's IEP. The amendment can happen with or without a meeting. If you are holding the meeting, you will complete a meeting notice and a prior written notice. If you are amending without a meeting, you will need to complete the prior written notice. Now we'll jump to the actual creation of the individual learning plan. You'll only need about 3 things to complete this job. You'll need a copy of the virtual hybrid document, you'll need a copy of the student's IEP, and you'll need a creative team to hang out with you and help you out with this. As we walk through this, I'll use a training document that has considerations and guiding questions on the left column, and then a sample student individual plan on the right. I'll walk you through our steps and thinking along the way. The first section of the individual learning plan pertains to the general education services. This section answers a question: what are all kids doing? Or what are the students' peers doing? This section is mostly a copy and paste section. You will notice the highlighted portion is from the district's instructional models. You will copy and paste that into both the hybrid and online section. The next part are the schedules for hybrid and online scheduling for this student. You will get these from your building. For those of you working in our level 3 programs, you will notice that the general education portion of this may look a little different. We will provide you with a sample copy of an individual learning plan from a student in a level 3 program. The next section of the individual learning plan is the accessibility section. We are answering the question, what needs are unique to the student for virtual and hybrid learning? You will want to work from the accommodations and modifications on the student's F page of their IEP and decide if they need to be changed in either model or if the student may need some new accommodations and modifications in these models. On the individual learning plan, you only need to document additions and changes to the original plan. Do not repeat information that is listed on the F page of the original IEP. In the example in the right column, you will state how the student will participate in each delivery model. This can be done using one of the stems that is provided off to the right. A student may attend this model with access to the accommodations outlined in their IEP, or a student may attend this model with access to the accommodations outlined in their IEP and some changes or additions made to these accommodations, or maybe the student is not able to attend the hybrid model as outlined in the UCSD services, and they may need to do in-person instruction daily. Something to note here is that when we are in the virtual model of instruction, all students will be virtual. Your team may create a new and unique way for a student to access a model of instructions. These samples are simply a guide. The needs section of the individual learning plan relates to health and the student's behavior plan. You will identify how health needs will be addressed in collaboration with your team and the school nurse, and how the behavior intervention plan will need to be changed or addressed in each of the models. In the sample to the right, we have planned for this student to need breakout rooms, visual supports at home, and a change in the behavior goal monitoring. Some things to think about are how associate support might look different, changes to any of the goals that you might need to make, or changes to instruction that may occur. In the services section of the individual learning plan, we are asking ourselves what changes and services will occur during the hybrid and virtual models. You'll want to describe when instruction will occur and for how long in each of these models. Some considerations while making these decisions are the virtual schedule is a shortened schedule, so there are less available minutes to provide SDI. You'll also want to consider writing monthly minutes to allow for more flexibility. You'll want to consider having associates help with some repeated practice and routines. And you'll also want to think about the amount of time a student can or should be expected to attend to virtual instruction. In the student sample of the individual learning plan, the student's minutes have been shortened to address the predicted amount of time the student can attend to online instruction. This student has 45 minutes of reading instruction daily on their IEP plan. This has been decreased by 300 minutes to account for the change in schedule and their attention. The student also has repeated practice from an additional adult written into their individual learning plan. In the goals section, we are answering the question, how will the student's goals be addressed and progress monitored in the virtual and hybrid models? The goals and progress monitoring only need to be documented if there is a change to the goal or how it is being monitored. Most likely, progress monitoring will look different in the virtual portion. Some things to consider in this section might be, how will the student have access to the materials needed for the progress monitoring? Behavior data may need to be monitored in a different way or for shorter amounts of times, such as interval recording only being taken during a short interval throughout the day. And we could also consider only monitoring on the days that the student is seen in person on the hybrid model. In the final section, the additional considerations, you will share any other information that is important to the implementation of the IEP. This may include, but is not limited to, ELL services or translation and interpretation services for the family. And that's it. So just some final thoughts on writing the individual learning plans. We would like these to be done by October. Also, make sure that you're reaching out to and including all of the services that are on the IEP, including health, SLPs, PT, OT. And again, if you need any help with anything, please reach out. We're a team and we will get through this together. Last, thank you. Thank you for all that you do and for doing what you do. We know this is hard work.